One seed, fourth quarter, Orlando up 6, and it's Franz Wagner driving and slamming it home over Asar Thompson. Oof, that's nasty. Well, then just over 2 minutes to go. This time, Wagner lobbing this one up to Jalen Suggs, who lays it in. Magic, they steal this one on the road, 112-101. We're back, joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez after a wire-to-wire victory from the, check the notes, 8-seeded Orlando Magic over the top-seeded Detroit Pistons. And I think one of the biggest storylines of this game is you got Cade Cunningham, who's giving you a playoff career-high 39 points, but Orlando still running away with this one. How concerning is it, if you're Detroit, that this can be just a one-man offense and you're relying so much on Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, this has been the knock against the Pistons all season long, Kiana, that they are over-reliant on Cade Cunningham. Now, when he went out with that collapsed lung, the Pistons still were chugging along and won what? They won 9-3 without him, and it looked like, okay, they could maybe withstand this. But tonight was a great example of all the concerns that you would have with the Pistons, where Cade Cunningham goes for 39 points. Only one other player on the Pistons scored in double figures. That was Tobias Harris, who scored 17, and it wasn't a very efficient shooting night from Tobias Harris. Everybody else in single digits, and the bench was basically useless. Dennis Jenkins, who's had a really good season, he was the high man off the bench with 6 points. You contrast that with the Magic, who had all 5 of their starters in double figures, and Jalen Suggs, a guy who fouled out, he was everywhere tonight. He was awesome. Franz Wagner, he hasn't looked like himself until tonight when he threw down a dunk, had 19 and 5. He started to look good. Paolo Banchero, I've killed him, crushed him all season long. He's had 2 good games in a row. And then I think the concerning thing, especially if you're the Pistons, you lose this game at home. That's 11 straight home playoff losses in Detroit on a night when Desmond Bane had an awful, brutal shooting night, and the Magic still won this one comfortably. That would give me a little pause.
Yeah, Desmond Bane going 7 of 20 from the field, 1 of 8 from three-point land. But, John, I want to get your take on this one, and it's not that I'm trying to give any type of excuse, but I'm just trying to make sense of what we just saw. I want to get your thoughts on, the whole ideology of the rest versus rust. You consider that the Magic came in playing 2 play-in games. They surprised many also including you and I, and we talked about this, and they got that win in the play-in against the Hornets, and now riding a bit of that momentum maybe into game 1 to steal one on the road against the best record in the East?
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking about this right before we came on air. It's kind of wild to watch the Orlando Magic, this version of them, which is the version that we all thought that we would get all season long, but we didn't get until the play-in against the Hornets when it was last chance saloon, win or go home. And I guess you can't rush these things, right? Like, they waited till the very last play-in game to actually try this season. But this is the version of the Magic that people wanted to see, right? Where Paolo Banchero, who's been super uneven all season long, he's had 2 really good games in a row. I don't like the fit between Banchero and Wagner overall, but they looked really good in this game. And Jalen Suggs is a little bit of do everything. And, oh man, what would they look like if Bane had a good night? And you contrast that with the Pistons. These 2 teams are very similar, right? Like, the Pistons do all the things that the Magic do well, ostensibly better, except for in this game. The Pistons were number 1 in the NBA this season in points in the paint. Well, who won the points in the paint battle? The Magic, considerably. And then their half-court defense, the Magic's, was excellent, not only in that Hornets game, but tonight against the Pistons. And I think one of the guys, if you're the Pistons, that you need to call out here is Jalen Duren. He was next to invisible tonight. He goes for 8 points and 7 rebounds, just 3 of 4. He only took 4 shots. I mean, this is a guy who could potentially make all NBA and is a finalist for most improved player. Well, not tonight he wasn't. And Cade Cunningham really needs his 1A player, and he didn't get him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting because you and I, we've talked a little bit about this just coming into the postseason. We were talking and previewing this Hornets and this Magic matchup, and we are kind of under this assumption that this is a Magic team that even if they didn't even make the postseason, this would be a unit that's kind of clearing the house a little bit, maybe getting rid of Jamal Mosley, maybe some players and what could happen there. But let's just say, hypothetically, we talked about this not too long ago, let's say that they could win some games, rattle off maybe a couple more upsets. Does that change the way we're looking at what the Magic might be doing this offseason?
Maybe. I mean, it would have to be more than just a couple games, right? Because I had the Pistons winning this series in five. Maybe that doesn't come to fruition here, but I do still think that the Pistons are the better team because, as we mentioned, there's so much overlap. If you were doing a Venn diagram between the Pistons and the Magic, there'd be a big part in that middle there because they both like to score in the paint. They both have big bodies. They both play really good defense. I still think that Cade Cunningham is the better player on either team. But in this hypothetical situation that we're talking about here, you know, what happens if the Magic win more than just a couple? What happens if they launch an upset and get out of the first round? Then all of a sudden, is Jamal Mosley sticking around? Everybody, including me, thinks that he's probably a goner and they're going to replace the head coach. I thought, if they're a first round exit, they won't lose in 5 games to the Pistons or 6 games to the Pistons, then maybe they're thinking about unplugging Paolo Banchero. Maybe you put him in a package, dangle him, see if the Milwaukee Bucks bite. Maybe you could get Giannis. All of that maybe changes if they launch an upset. Now, I don't want to overreact. It's just one game. We'll see what happens with the Pistons in game 2 and whether or not they can look more like themselves. They've been the number 1 seed. I keep defending them, Kiana. I would like them to reward me for that positivity with the Detroit Pistons. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They should look like it maybe in the next game.
Maybe they'll look like it if they start maybe spreading that ball around, more starters and even getting in double figures, not just relying on 2, especially Cade Cunningham. But hey, going back to the Magic, I know it's just one game, but we got to be honest, winning cures a lot. I'm just saying, John, we'll see how everything shakes out. As always, we appreciate you bringing the best. Thank you so much. Well, Magic bringing their best in game 1. And take a look at their game 1s as an 8 seed all time. Well, yeah, I mean, they've had 3 wins now as an 8 seed. Their lone loss being in 2007 against the Pistons. This one, I mean, they lost the series nonetheless. But hey, like I said, anything can happen. Is this our first upset of the playoffs? The Magic coming in as an 8 seed, getting the win on the road, making some history along the Thunder last season, as we recall. We know how that finished, but looking to do the same. That's another one under their belt. We're now joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. And John, the defending champs, well, let's do a little number counting, shall we? They forced 19 Suns turnovers, owned the points off turnovers 34-2, dominated fast break points in the paint, and then got 22 from Jalen Williams, while SGA, he still finished with 25, and that's even despite shooting 5 for 18 from the field. So I got to ask you, from what you saw in this performance, how scary is OKC if they can win a playoff game by 35, and that's even without a vintage shooting night from SGA?
Yeah, Kiana, all the notes that I have written down, you just did them. We should switch roles. You should be the analyst and I'll host this segment. That was ridiculous. I mean, Oklahoma City just came out. I thought the Sixers got beat bad earlier in the day, but this is kind of what I expected in this series. You and I did our little predictions the other night, and I had Oklahoma City winning this in a sweep, and you saw why in game 1, right? I mean, like, the Suns aren't a big team. If there's one thing that Oklahoma City sometimes has trouble with, it's size, both height and physicality, and that's kind of why they went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein last year. But because the Suns didn't have Mark Williams in this game, not like Mark Williams was going to be a game changer, but everything that the Suns can do, that Oklahoma City can do that much better, right? They have a whole bunch of really long, rangy wing players. They've got the defending MVP and Finals MVP in SGA. Jalen Williams was great tonight, as you mentioned. Chet Holmgren. I mean, there's nothing that the Suns can do to combat that offense. And then defensively, man, are the Suns in trouble because they just come at you in waves, right? I mean, like, after you get through the starting group, oh, by the way, then here comes Kason Wallace, who could make all defense, Alex Caruso, who's all defensive caliber and has made all defense in the past. They just have so many players, and yeah, this is going to be a 4-game series, and the Suns can go off and enjoy their vacation.
If you've been watching CBS Sports HQ, like John mentioned, we've been having these conversations, and he called this before the series even started, but I do want to dive a little bit more into what we saw, because do you think this game said more about the Thunder looking like a true repeat threat, or is it about Phoenix just having no real answer in this matchup?
Yeah, a little bit of A, a little bit of B, right? This is just an appetizer for Oklahoma City. This is just the beginning for them, the first round. This is a warm-up, right? They dip their toe in the water, and then like the big contests come in the second round, and then certainly in the conference finals, where ostensibly they'll play either the Nuggets or the Spurs should one of those should those two teams match up in the second round. But look, last year we had questions about Oklahoma City, right? They were the best team in the NBA during the regular season, but that's different than going and winning a championship. Well, they did that. They got through the gauntlet of the Western Conference. They won a championship, and now they're out there to defend it again. And so far, they've looked apart, right? I mean, 7th in offensive rating this season during the regular season. That #1 defense has been #1 for 2 years now, and they almost tied their NBA record point differential. So they're exactly where they want to be. They had some injury issues. Now they're healthy. They're good to go. And then the Suns, look, this has been a nice season for the Suns, right? Getting out of the play-in is okay for them. They had more wins this season without Kevin Durant than they had last year when they only won 36 with him. So you can only ask so much, right? What do you want them to do against the defending champions? Probably something like this, get blown out by 35.
John writing them off already after game 1. But you did say that the Suns, there's nothing they can really do to combat this Thunder offense. But maybe is there an actual offensive adjustment that Phoenix can make for game 2? Or is this more about just kind of surviving the Thunder's pressure and maybe hoping for better shot quality the next time out?
Yeah, it's all of that. I mean, you have to have better